also co-lines with humility. Whenever you realize that you mess up, you have to humble yourself and ask for forgiveness. It really takes a shot at the pride, right? Let's turn to Psalm 15. I catch myself reading this psalm a lot, but it's comforting, it's encouraging, it's all the above. It's really one of my favorites. But Psalm 15, I'm going to read the whole psalm. It says, "O Lord, who may abide in your tent, and who may dwell on your holy hill? He who walks with integrity and works righteousness and speaks truth in his heart, he does not slander with his tongue, nor does evil to his neighbor, nor takes a reproach against his friend, in whose eyes the reprobate is despised. But who honors those who fear the Lord, and he swears to his own hurt and does not change. He does not put out his money at interest, nor does he take a bribe against the innocent. And he who does these things will never be shaken. But who may abide in your tent?" Right off right off the cuff, with the question, "Who may abide in your tent? Who may dwell in your holy hill?" And he follows through with the answer. He walks with integrity, works righteousness, speaks truth in his heart, doesn't slander, doesn't do evil to his neighbor. All of these things are that he mentions in here all fall back to integrity, to humility, to faith. The one who speaks truth in his heart. You ever met a person who speaks so much truth that as soon as you meet them, you already trust them with your life? You ever met a person like that? I know I haven't, because there's not a person on this earth that there's not one person on this earth that can bring that except for through Christ. It takes time for people to trust people. We have to build our trust with people. It's when you realize who walks with integrity and who doesn't, that's whenever true friends, true people are found. When we continue our walk, we need to walk with integrity with Christ. Believe his words wholeheartedly. Make them a part of ourselves. That's what he says, to bind his words to our hearts, right? So we keep them close to our chest. We live on them. We live by them. Integrity. Something that I feel like I've been lacking here recently. Let's turn to Proverbs 28. Proverbs 28 and verse 5. It says, "Evil men do not understand justice, but those who seek the Lord understand all things. Better is the poor who walks in his integrity than he who is crooked though he be rich. He who keeps the law is a discerning son, but he who is a companion of gluttons humiliates his father. And he who increases his wealth by interest and usury gathers it for him who is gracious to the poor. But he who turns away his ear from listening to the law, even his prayer is an abomination. But he who leads the upright astray in an evil way will himself fall into his own pit, but the blameless will inherit good. There we go. I think it's really hard to find a stopping point during this chapter because it's a really good chapter. But the evil men don't understand justice, but those who seek the Lord understand all things. Through the Lord we gain knowledge, wisdom, understanding. His knowledge and his wisdom, his understanding. All of it can be used daily in every manner of our life, everything. So why not use His words to build trust in us, to those around us, those that we work with, those that we go. I'm still thinking. I'm running out of words. Anyway, those that we go to work with, those that we pass in the supermarket, those that we pass on our daily ventures, whether gas station, whatever it is. Why not use His words instead of our own? Build our lives on His words instead of our own. That's where I mess up a lot, because I want people to trust my words, especially at work. I want people to trust me because I know what I'm doing. When in reality, I don't really know what I'm doing. I just think that I do, and it's a problem. But I need them to trust the Lord's words, not my own. My interests, my thoughts align with His. That's how we walk with integrity. Let's turn to Galatians 5. We only got one more spot after this, so if anyone's got anything they'd like to say, please do. 10. It says, "But I say, walk by the Spirit, and you will not carry out the desire of the flesh. For the flesh sets its desire against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh. For these are in opposition to one another, so that you may not do the things that you please. But if you are led by the Spirit, you are not under the law." And so forth, so forth, so on. I wasn't really planning on reading those, but I was really wanting to stop verse 18. But if you're led by the Spirit, you're not under the law. Anyway. But he says, verse 16, "I say, walk by the Spirit, and you will not carry out the desire of the flesh." What most of the time our fleshly desires don't. That's what we fight with most of the time. At least that's what I fight. Spirit, do what the Lord wants you to do because you want to do it, right? It's a little confusing when I say it like that, but that's how I understand it. You're going to do what He wants you to do because you want to do it. So we know we're at constant battle. Our flesh. Sometimes it gets me down, and sometimes I'm the happiest I've ever been. But they're in opposition of each other. We can't let our flesh control us. It's we walk with integrity, using His words, using His love, His light. Deeds of flesh become irrelevant. It doesn't even become a second thought to us. It's no longer existent, because walking with Him, where else would you rather go? I mean, He's the brightest light out there. He's He's comfort. He's healing. He's all the above. He's everything that we could need and more. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. And against such things there is no law. I mean, there's no law in keeping your word, right? There's nothing against keeping your promises. But if you break those promises, that's whenever consequences come into play. That's whenever trust is broken. That's whenever faith is broken. Is whenever we don't keep our word. I can't remember what I told the Lord whenever I first decided to be baptized. I can't remember the promise I made Him. But I can remember the promise I made Him 5 years ago whenever I come back to my senses. Those are the promises we need to keep the most importantly. It's the ones we keep to the Lord. He said it reflects our personal life. If we can't keep our promise with those of this world, can't keep our word with those of this world, we can't keep our promise to God because we're habitually liars. He says in verse 18, "But if you're led by the Spirit, you're not under the law." If we're truly led by the Spirit, we'll have no problem keeping those promises. It'll be zero problem whatsoever. But it's hard whenever we're forgetful. We get overwhelmed by everything out in this world. Everything's just sitting right in our face. So we become overwhelmed. We become forgetful. That's the only thing I can say is become forgetful. At least that's my problem. I don't know about y'all, but I'm very forgetful. It seems like the only thing I can remember is what's right in my face. And usually when I go to work Monday, I forget everything else that happened over the weekend most of the time because it's right here in my face. And I have to deal with it because it's my job. At least that's what I keep telling myself. But the last place I want to go to is 1 Peter chapter 2. I'm just going to read 2 verses. 1 Peter 2, verse 11 and 12. It says, Beloved, I urge you as aliens and strangers to abstain from fleshly lust with which wage war against the soul. And keep your behavior excellent among the Gentiles, so that in the thing in which they slander you as evildoers, they may, because of your good deeds, as they observe them, glorify God on the day of visitation. As aliens and strangers, that's what we should feel like when we're out in this world. Should feel like aliens, feel like strangers. He says, abstain from fleshly lust which wage war against the soul. But keep your behavior excellent among the Gentiles. Keep your behavior excellent among this world. What does that mean? It means walk with integrity. It means put your faith solely in God and walk in His truth. He says, so that in the thing in which they slander you as evildoers, they may, because of your good deeds as they observe them, glorify God on the day of visitation. People are going to slander. They're going to try to put you down. They're going to try to tear your name down. But they can slander my name all day and all night. Because my name means nothing. It's all about the Lord. The Lord's name. We follow His laws, His statutes. We keep His commandments. They got nothing to slander over. I mean, it's nothing new, right? Christ has already been crucified. All of this has already happened. There's nothing new to this. We already know the dangers of it. But walk with integrity. Have faith. Have trust. Knowing where you're going, what you're doing. Believe in Him. Make Him your God. Because if you don't make Him your God, there's no integrity. Not in His words. We can't keep His words. We can't. That's when we become confused. We can't give people a straight answer because we don't know. Anyway, that's pretty much what's on my mind. I hope you guys got something out of it. I appreciate you letting me ramble up here, but that's all I got this morning. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to say or add or change or? Well, I appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Well, I know.